While looking for my next video idea, I stumbled upon this site called Incredibles.dev, and right there on the landing page, something caught my eye. This mosaic grid sitting in the center of the screen, built out of small individual tiles that together form one seamless image. When you hover over the project names listed at the bottom, the entire grid comes alive. Every tile flips in this staggered wave, peeling away the current image and revealing a completely new one underneath. I'd seen plenty of hover effects and image transitions before, but nothing quite like this. The combination of the tile grid, the 3D flip, and that ripple felt really fresh. So naturally, I wanted to try building it myself. It took a few rounds of experimentation, but I eventually managed to put together this mini experience. On load, we have got the full mosaic grid assembled from over 100 tiles, each one quietly drifting forward and back on the z-axis in this soft, randomized breathing motion. It gives the whole thing an ambient, almost organic feel before anyone even touches it. The moment you hover over a project name, a flip animation ripples out from the center of the grid. Each tile rotates to its next face, and because every tile carries its own precisely offset slice of the image, the new picture comes together seamlessly as the wave passes through. Pull your cursor away and everything flips back to the default. The trick behind it is that every tile is actually a tiny CSS cube with multiple faces. We paint the current image on the visible face and quietly load the next image onto the hidden opposite side. When the hover fires, all we are doing is rotating each cube 180 degrees. GSAP handles the timing, this stagger creates the ripple, and the 3D transforms to the rest. In this video, we'll build the whole thing from the ground up, generating the tile grid dynamically, constructing each cube with CSS transforms, slicing a single image across all the faces, and then wiring up the flip logic and hover interactions with GSAP. If you'd like to grab the source code for this project, along with hundreds of other similar micro projects and a brand new website template every month, you can check out the Pro membership via the link in the description. And if you find my work helpful, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Alright, let's get into the code. I'll start with the section with the class Spotlight. This is the full screen container that holds everything, the mosaic grid and the project list. It takes up the entire viewport and acts as the stage for the whole effect. Inside it, I'll add a div with the class Project Preview. This one starts completely empty, no markup at all. We'll be generating the tile grid dynamically through JavaScript later, so this div just serves as the mounting point for all those tiles. Next, I'll add a nav element with the class Project List. This sits in the corner of the screen and gives the user something to hover over to trigger the image transitions. Inside the project list wrapper, I'll paste in 6 anchor links, each one with a data index attribute and a project name. The data index values go from 1 through 6, and we'll use those in JavaScript to map each link to its corresponding image. The names themselves are just labels. They give the list a cinematic editorial feel. And that's the entire HTML. Let's move on to the CSS. First, I'll do a quick global reset, zero out margins, paddings, and set box sizing to border box across everything. Next, the spotlight section. I'll make it relative positioned, full viewport width and height, with overflow hidden so nothing bleeds out. Flexbox enters everything inside it. The background is a dark near black. Then the two key properties, perspective set to 800 pixels and transform style set to preserve 3D. These are what make the 3D tile flips actually render with depth rather than looking flat. Now the project preview grid. I'll set it to display grid with 12 columns and 9 rows, each cell 60 pixels. This gives us a fixed mosaic layout that the tiles will slot into. It also gets transform style preserve 3D, so the 3D transforms on each tile inside it are respected. Then the tile itself, each one is 60 by 60 pixels, relative positioned with transform style preserve 3D again, essentially because every tile is its own little 3D cube. I'll add will change transform here since every tile will be constantly animating. Next, tile face. This is the shared style for all 6 sides of each tile. Absolute positioning, same 60 by 60 size, background size cover, and back face visibility hidden. That last one is critical. It's what prevents us from seeing through to the opposite face during a rotation. Now the individual face transforms. Each face needs to be pushed out and rotated into position to form a cube. The front face translates forward on the z-axis by 30 pixels, half the tile size. The rear face rotates 180 degrees on y, then translates forward the same amount. Right and left rotates 90 and negative 90 degrees on y respectively. Top and bottom rotate on the x-axis instead. Every face uses that same 30 pixel Z translate. That's what positions them flush against the edges of an invisible 60 pixel cube. Then the project list now. I'll position it absolutely in the bottom right corner, stack the links vertically with flexbox column, and set a Z index of 10 so it always floats above the tile grid. For the links themselves, white text, uppercase, TM mono for that monospaced editorial look. Font size at 1 rem, no underline, a small vertical padding, and opacity set to 0.5 by default with a smooth transition. On hover or when the active class is applied, the opacity bumps up to 1, a simple but effective highlight. Alright, all this styling is in place. Let's get into the JavaScript. First, we'll import GSAP. That's the only dependency we need for this entire effect. Then we'll define the grid config, the number of columns, the number of rows, and the size of each tile. From those, we'll also calculate the total pixel width and height of the full preview area. We'll need these values later when positioning background images across the tiles. Next, we'll set up an array of face class names: front, rear, right, left, top, and bottom. These correspond to the 6 sides of each tile cube, and we'll loop through this list whenever we need to create or reference those faces. Then the image paths. The first entry is the default image, the one that shows on load before any hovering happens. The remaining 6 map directly to the 6 project links in the nav, matched by their data index values. Now we'll grab the preview container from the DOM and create an empty array called tiles. This array will hold a reference to every tile we generate, along with its face elements and its position in the grid. With those in place, let's build the actual tiles. We'll nest 2 for loops, one for rows, one for columns to iterate through every cell in the grid. For each cell, we create a new div with the class tile. Then we loop through the face names array, and for each one, we create another div, give it the tile face class along with its specific face class, and append it to the tile. We also store each face element in an object keyed by its class name. This lets us reference any face directly later without querying the DOM. Once the tile is fully assembled, we append it to the preview container and push it into the tiles array along with its faces, row index, and column index. Now that all the tiles exist, we need a way to paint images onto them. We'll write a helper function called setTileImage. It takes a tile, a face name, and an image path. Inside, it grabs the face element from the tile's faces object, calculates the x and y offset based on the tile's column and row position, then applies 3 styles: the background image, the background size set to the full preview dimensions, and the background position using those offsets. This is how each tile shows just its own slice of the larger image. Every tile gets a different offset, so when the full grid is assembled, all the slices line up to form one seamless picture. With this utility ready, let's set the initial state. We'll loop through every tile and call setTileImage on all 4 side faces, front, rear, right, and left. The top and bottom faces just get a solid dark color instead, since they'll not actually be visible during the y-axis rotation. They are really just there to give the cube a sense of thickness if a tile catches an edge during the breathing animation. Now let's add some life to the grid. We'll write a function called breathe that takes a tile element. Inside, it uses GSAP's to method to animate that tile's Z position to a random value, pushing it slightly forward and pulling it back. The duration is also randomized, and the ease is set to sine in out for a smooth, organic feel. On complete, it calls itself again with a new random target. This creates a continuous, never repeating floating motion for each tile. Then we'll kick off the breathing for every tile. We loop through the tiles array and use GSAP's delete call to stagger each tile's start by a small offset based on its index. This way, they don't all begin breathing at the same time. Instead, the motion ripples across the grid gradually, giving the whole mosaic a living, ambient quality right from the moment the page loads. Alright, that sets up the grid, the visuals, and the item animation. Next, we'll write the reveal logic that actually flips the tiles when the user hovers over a project link. First, we'll declare the state variables that control the reveal logic. Active project tracks which image is currently showing, starting at 0 for the default. Reveal count keeps a running tally of how many flips have happened so far. Is revealing is a boolean flag that tells us whether a flip animation is currently in progress. Next, project holds the index of any project the user hovered over while a flip was still running, and hover delay stores a timeout reference so we can debounce rapid hover events. These 5 variables work together to keep the entire reveal system in sync. Next, we'll write a small helper function called getHiddenFace. It checks whether the reveal count is even or odd. If it's even, the hidden face is the rear, and if it's odd, it's the front. This is how we know which face to paint the next image onto before flipping. Since each flip rotates the tiles another 180 degrees, the face that's currently hidden always alternates between front and rear. With that in place, let's write the main reveal function. Reveal project takes a project index as its argument. The first thing it does is run through a series of guard checks. If the requested project is already active and nothing is currently animating, it returns early, no point flipping to what's already showing. If a flip is currently in progress, it doesn't interrupt it. Instead, it stores the requested index in next project so we can pick it up once the current animation finishes. If the requested project matches the active one, it bails out again. Once we are past the guards, we set is revealing to true and clear out next project. Then we call getHiddenFace to figure out which face is currently hidden from view. We loop through every tile and paint the new project image onto that hidden face using our setTileImage helper. At this point, the new image is fully loaded onto a face the user can't see yet, ready to be revealed by the flip. Then we do a second pass through the tiles and paint the default image onto the right and left faces. These are the edge faces that briefly flash into view mid-rotation. By keeping them on the default image, the transition feels clean without any stale visual sketching the eye as the tiles spin. After that, we increment reveal count and update active project to the new index. Then we fire up the actual flip animation using GSAP's do method on all tiles. The rotate Y target is reveal count multiplied by 180, so the first flip goes to 180, the second to 360, the third to 540, and so on. This way the tiles always rotate forward in the same direction rather than snapping back. The ease gives it a smooth acceleration and deceleration, and the stagger fends the animation out from the center of the grid, creating that ripple effect across the mosaic. In the onComplete callback, we reset is revealing to false, then check if next project has been set while we are animating. If so, we right away call reveal project again with that queued index. This is what makes the rapid hovering feel responsive rather than janky. Now we'll grab all the project links from the DOM, then we'll loop through each link and attach a mouse enter listener. When the user hovers over a link, we first remove the active class from all links, then add it to the one being hovered. We parse the data index attribute to get the project number, clear any pending hover timeout, and set a new one that calls reveal project after a tiny delay. That small delay acts as a debounce. It prevents the flip from firing if the user is just sweeping across the list quickly. Finally, we'll add a mouse leave listener on the project list container itself. When the cursor leaves the entire nav area, we remove the active class from all links, clear any pending timeout, and queued up a flip back to the default image at index 0. This resets the mosaic to its original state once the user stops hovering. And that's a wrap, a mosaic flip hover effect built with GSAP and pure DOM generation. No frameworks, no scroll triggers, just 3D tile cubes driven by hover state. Hope you found the video helpful. See you in the next one.